and welcome back to another episode of Cremas and Coquito.
I'm Napoleon.
And I'm Kristina.
And today we have special guests. We have a couple, Adrian and Jasmine. So let's let them introduce themselves.
How you doing, everyone? I'm Adrian Brooks. I am one half of ABrooksWorld.
And I'm Jasmine Brooks, and I'm the other half of ABrooksWorld. We're excited to be here and talk to you guys today.
We are. We know y'all, so...
Thank you for coming on. Because I know you know I'm a little crazy.
I've known you a long time.
Exactly, a little.
So this is going to be a fun conversation, because now what I'm interested in is how Tina views you. Because I know you, but I don't know how she sees you.
Oh, she knows me.
And I feel like you get the same sort of thing I get. Like, people meet us, they meet our wives, and they're like, I don't know how you do it.
Exactly.
For sure. Just special women, you know?
So let's hop straight into it, right? So let's talk about the pandemic and how it shifted how we do things, how we see each other. So let me just first start by saying we had about 2 years in a pandemic. So has it taught you anything about yourself, and has it taught you anything about each other?
I think for me, what it taught me about myself is I can deal with crises better than I thought I could. I'm used to dealing with them in terms of my job and clients, but in a personal setting, not so much. And I think it really taught me that I have resilience to deal with crises in real life, because, when the pandemic came, it was a matter of within days, even hours of things changing so rapidly, and us having to adjust to this new normal that we're living now. So I think it really taught me that.
What about you, eh?
It taught me I could spend the next 50 years of my life with Jasmine in a confined space and be okay.
You guys could live in an RV. So cute.
No, it really did. We live in New York City, and it's a 1-bedroom apartment. So the minute we were locked in, and I mean we were legit locked in, because we're germaphobes and hypochondriacs. So when it first hit, Jazz is spraying me down at the door with Lysol. We're wiping down packages and stuff. So space was an issue and where we could be. And, I was worried, are we going to be at each other's throats? This is going to be a real test. But it was easier than I thought it would be. And then the other thing is, it really taught me how much I love what I do. It really taught me how much I love teaching. I mean, I was, one of those teachers who, while worrying about the safety of my students, I wasn't necessarily eager to get them back because, I wanted their families to be safe and I didn't rush, but I missed the classroom. I realized how much of a passion I have for teaching and what I do. So
that's
nice. That's what it taught me.
I would also add that I don't think people realize, when we were in BC before Corona, and people would say, we were spending 80% of our time with our coworkers or people we work with, and then the other small percentage with if you're in a relationship with that person you're in a relationship with, or even with your family members. So I think it forced everyone to pause and reflect on their life, and I think we got that opportunity to. We've never spent this much time together just because we were both working. We're both, 9 to 5, coming home, and you have 3 or 4 hours of personal time, but even in that's really limited. So we really got an opportunity to kind of reconnect early on in our marriage, even though we were stuck together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It really helped us just connect on another level and kind of learn more about each other that we might not have known or learned if we didn't have the pandemic.
Oh, that's beautiful. So for us, I think it had the exact opposite effect. Because we were just, the pandemic happened and Miles just turned 3 months.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Lord, even though we had also moved. So being first time parents with a newborn.
The pandemic forced us to move.
Yeah, it
definitely
was,
forced us to move, because if not, I think me and her would have killed each other.
in that small apartment. Yeah.
So
We felt like
you
killing
guys
each
were
other
in the
anyways.
process of moving?
So we started searching from before the pandemic, but we weren't in the process of moving per se, because we were just looking for properties, for investment properties as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we just pivoted and we just said, okay, let's look for a primary residence, because there's no way me and her would have survived in that small apartment during COVID.
Even in this house, like with Miles just being we couldn't even date. We were just stuck in the house 24/7. I still had to kind of teach remotely with a newborn. I was going crazy. It was horrible. We were at each other's throat the whole entire time. It was madness.
That's an interesting choice. You said we couldn't even date.
No,
Couldn't
Why did you
date.
say that?
no, there was no dating. It was legit torture to me.
We couldn't go outside for
It was
anything.
So like you guys didn't like the, I guess your normal, like go out for a movie or date, like the way you date each other, like you couldn't even find, things were just so hectic you didn't get that time?
No, because he was so young. He was so young. The focus was on him. So knowing that the focus is on him, not on us, it was insane.
And if there wasn't a pandemic, like we could have went out once a month, and reconnected and leave the baby at my mom's. But there was no going out. Nothing was open. It was just like, what's the point of me leaving the baby at my mom's if we're not going to go anywhere? It was just a mess.
Yeah.
Right. Like, what's the point of like dropping off the baby at your mom's and then just going back in the house? Like,
yeah.
What were
Just so you know, Jazz would absolutely do that anyway.
Thinking back on it, maybe that would have been a good idea, just to reconnect even a little bit. But we were almost gonna call it quits.
Exactly.
I mean, you guys are basically just in survival mode.
Correct.
It was like, keep this baby alive, keep ourselves alive, stay COVID free, and just make sure we're eating healthy every day. Like that's your focus, which is it totally makes sense.
It quickly became like medieval times.
So, how did you guys deal with conflict during the COVID times?
Oh, there is we had multiple methods.
Yeah, I think that
survival.
The quickest method was if we got into a fight, like either I would stay in the living room and he would go into the bedroom, or vice versa. Like we would give each other space, because it wasn't really like, I mean, they were like stupid fights, but like when you're just around somebody so much, like tension just can build sometimes.
Yep.
You guys are just annoyed with each other or whatever, so you kind of take frustrations out. So that's kind of really what it was.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. We try. I mean, and I think I started to. Space I think was huge for us. We found ways to give each other space. Like I would go outside. I would work out on like the jungle gym or something, or kiddie park. You would go for walks, or if we weren't splitting in the room. And I think for me, what I appreciated is that I wasn't judged for some of the things that I did.
Nice. To
like relieve mental tension. Like kudos to Jazz. Like I wasn't getting judged for playing video games. Like I haven't played video games like that in years. And I think like the pandemic hit and it was an opportunity for me to like knock out some games that I hadn't really played in a while. And there wasn't any judgment about it, right? Like it wasn't like, oh, you're such a child, or men don't play games. Like, I didn't get it. No thing. And that was kind of a relief. It was like, she understands it's crisis. People need some, the escapism.
Yeah.
I didn't judge her for watching like Real Housewives.
So. So she's a Real Housewife, like my wife.
I'm a Real Housewife OG. I would like to claim that.
Of every county, right? Of Orange County, of everywhere.
Every county.
Yes, I've been watching Housewives since the first episode of Real Housewives of Orange County.
Wow, I love the Orange County one.
For sure.
Yeah.
Tina, do you watch Housewives?
Hells yes.
Fanatic.
Yeah, I watched Salt Lake City.
That means Poe watches Housewives.
No, I do
He
not.
tunes it out. He's on his phone,
I
watching
do
his
not.
battle raps.
Yeah, I do
Rap
not.
battles, whatever you call them.
It's a marriage rule. If your spouse watches a show religiously,
you are
bound to watch it.
Does that go both ways, eh?
Yeah, I watch PTI and Around the Horn.
Okay.
You guys already know that, right? Like,
oh, you didn't think I knew that, did you, Paul?
No, didn't
What
think you knew that.
No, I have no.
I'm up on all the sports news.
I thought you guys knew. Like, Jazz is a legit football soccer fan. Like,
I'm not soccer. I'm football.
She hates baseball. Baseball is like the only sport she will not like watch at all.
It's so boring. I'm sorry. Sorry to any baseball fans. It's very boring.
You don't
But if I have to cheer for a baseball team, it would only be the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah,
well,
but I think that's another area where it's like, you know, my life is made a lot easier. Again, like if I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch the game, or I'm chilling out, or we go watch the game together, you know, at my local bar, because I have a bar that I like watch all the football games.
Excuse me, no, you don't. I have a bar where I watch all the games that I introduced you to the bar. And
that's so funny. He took your bar.
He did take my bar.
Can I tell the story?
Yes, you can tell the story.
So at one point in time, I was like traveling back and forth for like work. I would be out of town, and I would miss the games. And Jasmine wanted to hang out and catch the Ravens games, and you can't catch them here in New York. So she started going to hang out in Harlem at a sports bar. And I know she's a Ravens fan, like legit, but I didn't think like, you know, my wife is like legit hanging out at like the bar to watch the football game. So I'm home one weekend, Poe, and I'm like, all right, I'll go with you to the bar. I swear to you now, when we walk in, it's a whole Ravens section at the bar. It's kind of like Cheers. Everybody's like, hey, Jazz! And I'm like,
oh, wow.
She walks in, and they're like, hey, you want a shot? I'm like, yo. Nah,
popular.
It was bad.
She put you on.
Jazz is better than me.
No. We're not going to do that like that.
That's fine. Jazz, you're better than me because I don't do sports, not one bit. But thankfully, my husband is not like a huge sports person because I couldn't do it.
I do basketball alone. And then I'll do the Super Bowl when it comes to football, but I'm not doing the full season.
Yeah. See, basketball is like a hit or miss for me. I used to watch a lot of college, some NBA, but I feel like if I'm gonna watch a sport, I'd rather watch football or boxing.
Oh yeah, boxing
I could do.
or even UFC.
Yeah.
I like UFC.
UFC I haven't watched. I've never really watched it. I feel like I should give it a try, but I don't know. I think I prefer boxing more.
I'm really hit or miss with UFC.
So let's talk about the big F, finances. How important are finances in a relationship?
Oh, very, very, very.
So when you say,
you guys know that?
No, yeah, but
what do you mean by how important? Are you asking like a percentage?
No, or? Percentage meaning from 1 to 10. How important do you think finances is?
I would say,
maybe I feel like a 7 or an 8.
I'd say
maybe higher. No, 7 or 8.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
7 or 8. Mm-hmm. What about the male's role to provide? What do you guys think about that? Is that like a provide meaning
bring in more of the money?
Is it important? Yeah. Is it important? Yeah. Is it important for the man to bring in more money than the woman?
That's a good decision. I'm waiting to be a kept.
I was gonna say.
Adrian has a joke. Hey, and I'm waiting to be like a housewife.
So he's having this joke that he wants to be a kept woman. I mean, a kept man.
You see how wrong it is?
Sorry. So he wants to be a kept husband. It's a joke because he would never do that. I don't know. I mean, I feel like you were better at answering.
No, I don't know. I wonder what you.
I know from my perspective, I grew up where both my parents actually had 2 jobs. Like 2 full-time careers.
For sure.
Or more so like they both had 9 to 5s, and then what you would call a side hustle back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I was used to both people bringing in a substantial amount of money, like not necessarily where I don't know the specific numbers, like where they're both 50-50, but they were both bringing money into the household to support the home.
Okay.
So I feel like that's kind of how we see ourselves, where we're both trying to bring in money to support the household. It doesn't really matter who's bringing in necessarily more.
To support your
I am
goals.
hoping one day she brings in more so I can be a kept husband. I'm trying to make the Real House Husbands of Hollywood.
Oh, God. Hopefully it will never happen. We don't need that.
He would never not work. So that's the funny thing. He would never not want to work.
Yeah. I don't know about, I'd be lying if I said my ego doesn't want to make substantially more money.
Okay.
Like I would be lying if I said, but I don't know if that's like in competition with you.
But I feel like we would compete against each
Yeah.
other.
That's what I told Poe too. I think we would like just keep competing with each other.
I'm not competing with her.
But listen, listen, please. I am waiting to be a retired person.
You don't got to tell me that again. I already know. I know. It's not a secret to me. Definitely not a secret to me.
I say men need to make more than the woman for the simple fact of when you want to start a family. A woman doesn't want to, or me precisely, like I do not want to have to work when I have kids because I want to be able to be in my kids' life, like, you know, take them places and just see their growth, at least until they start school. So I wouldn't want, like, my husband would have to make money and hopefully more than me because I wouldn't want to feel like, oh, if I stop working even for a year, our whole household is going to, like, crumble.
Yeah. And have you always felt that way? Were you...
No, you know, I was always like, like, I'm always going to work 50-50, like 50-50. But after having, like, I always tell women, you think you want 50-50, that, you know, you're always work until the day you have to leave your kid with someone else. And then you're like, I want to quit today. And then it just turns very real. Like the day I went,
face and it starts crying.
Yeah, the first day I went back to work, Miles said, "Mama."
Yeah, I remember that,
and that killed me. Like, I was like, "I'm quitting." So it turns very real the first day you go back and you like, "Oh no, I should be at home."
Okay, so you're saying if no kids are involved, it's fine through the 50-50, 60-40 or whatever it is that you're doing. But if kids are involved, you don't want your income to affect the household in any significant way whatsoever.
I'm only saying that because if I want to, like, I should have the option of being like, okay, stay home and raise the kids do the child rearing until they're like 3K. 3 years is not a lot to ask.
What do you guys think about that? 3 years, giving a woman 3 years off, right? Where us the men, Adrian, we work, we take care of the household, and they take the first 3 years to instill what they have to instill in our children.
Jasmine won't do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know my wife.
I don't know if I could.
No.
I don't know if I could.
My wife is rocking the baby.
What's the fear? What's the fear, Jazz, of stepping out of the workforce for 3 years?
I don't know if it's necessarily a fear. I think I enjoy working even on days where I might be annoyed with what I'm doing. I enjoy working. Now, I will say, you know, when we do decide to have kids, I will take full advantage of that maternity leave. Like, don't get that.
Girl, you will have to.
What'd you say?
You will have to. There is no going back to work, at least for the first 3 to 6 months. You will be a zombie of yourself.
Yeah, like I couldn't. Yeah, like I mean, the fact that our country doesn't have paid maternity leave or like both mother and the father, I think is ridiculous. Like where other countries, like you literally get a year and you still like get income in. Like it's a lot to deal with. Like you go through a traumatic experience, and then you have to like take care of this human and make sure they stay alive, and then you're not in your sleep cycle. Like a lot changes, so you definitely need that.
Most people don't have that luxury.
No, I know, and I feel for those that don't have that luxury, because I feel like everyone needs that. It's just like your body. I mean, first of all, your body needs time to heal.
Yep,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Secondly, you have to like get adjusted to this new way of life of taking care of this person. Third, you have to like figure out some type of sleep or whatever, because like how are you can't not sleeping and then trying to work, like you're not going to function. You're going to be failing on a lot of places.
Yep, that's what it felt like for us, man, whenever we
and people
first
turn right around and have to do it.
Yeah, and I mean I feel for those. We're fortunate enough that we would have hopefully the support
in place
to help get us through, but I would definitely take full advantage of the maternity leave. I don't know if I could take the 3 years off.
I'm taking maternity leave. Sure. Whatever you want to call it, I'm
taking
taking it.
I took mine proud too, eh?
However give me, I'm taking it.
I took mine proud as all hell too, eh?
Yeah.
You should. I think the men should, because nobody's getting sleep. Everybody's angry.
Oh no, he got sleep, Jazz. He got sleep.
Oh, he got sleep.
He got sleep.
Yeah, that was one of the issues.
I can see why, because I would be like, you will be awake with me.
Jazz, you never want to punch somebody so much in the face until you have 1 hour of sleep, and you look over to your left, and he's snoring.
Oh yeah.
There's a violent version. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Come on. She has to deal with me, Adrian, and you know me.
You know what? To your point, one of the things I heard most from the men I know who are like raising families and had kids like prior to the pandemic was the time the pandemic gave them with their children was invaluable.
Yeah. That I would say.
The time for those, all those men, you, my cousin, all those men that got the chance to be a father in like the first 2 years of their child's life, they were like, I just didn't realize what that was worth.
Exactly.
That time was invaluable.
Exactly. That's how I feel.
Because typically you would be back in the field working in the same way you wouldn't have been able to work from home. And that I wonder how that's going to change the landscape for like conversations with men and fatherhood.
Yep.
Because there'll be a lot of men like you who are like, yo, those first 3 years, you want that.
Yep. And I think that made me bond with Miles even more and even quickly because I was involved in all of those little intimate like routines that women have with children, like bathing them, putting them to bed, nursing them when they're sick. It is beautiful. It is very beautiful to see a child very vulnerable and knowing that they're only looking up to you and mommy. So that's the best to me.
For sure.
Oh, there's a
soft side.
Oh yeah. When it comes to my son, I am a mush.
We crumble.
There's a mush version of Poe.
Yeah.
I think that happens like when men have children. I remember my mom told me when they first had me, my grandmother came over to like help them, and like literally my grandmother and my father would be fighting over like who would give me a bath because like my father wanted to do it. And my mom was like, just let her do it. She's helping us. Like, we can get the rest right now.
Can I kill this misconception? It's not just when men have kids. Men can be mush.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, when men have kids, like, they're just, perspective can change a little.
We become, I've seen Poe be a mush over Tina.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, that's
true.
Before. That's right.
That's true.
You know, kill the misconception.
It wasn't a misconception. I was just
not that we're mushy, but we have mushy moments.
Yeah. Everyone has feelings.
There goes the marriage argument.
I love that marriage banter.
Marriage talk.
Yeah, banter back and forth. So guys, what do you think about happiness? How important is happiness
in a marriage?
In a marriage.
How would you define it?
Happiness is whatever it is that satisfies you individually. Like your mood, being happy. How important is your individual happiness inside marriage?
Oh, okay. So individually, I think I say it all the time, and Jazz used to be annoyed by it, but now she understands it more, I think. Like, I'm like, you have to be happy as an individual in order to be happy together.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Like, my happiness isn't her job.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
You know, so it's important for me to continue to grow as myself and be happy myself. Like, it's not my job to search for her. It's not her job to make me happy, and I shouldn't be searching for my happiness in her.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it goes both ways. Like, when you decide to get into a relationship with somebody, you shouldn't be relying on them to make you happy, or, you know, like, you have to be happy with yourself. You have to have that fulfillment before you can really fully be in that relationship.
Yeah.
Because without that, it's going to be, I mean, when there's insecurities or things like that, it's going to create problems between the two of you that it's not really issues between you two, it's more so issues with yourself and how you feel about yourself.
What if you are not happy in your relationship? What do you think? Like, does your happiness come first in your relationship? If your partner's not making you happy, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, when we have, I think one of the things that works for us really good, and you hear couples say this all the time, and I think it's universal, is communication.
Mm-hmm.
So I think our communication, if we're not happy and things are off, is one of the things that's really worked for us. I would say we have conversations about everything.
Mm-hmm.
I would say everything for us is on the table. So if one of us isn't happy with where we are or not happy with ourselves in the moment, I think it's important to discuss that. And I've had to get better about listening without giving solutions.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, me too.
Listen with intention.
Yeah.
Me too. Because I don't know if you're like me, but if my wife brings me any problem, any issue, I go straight into solving mode.
Yeah, you'd be like, well, why can't you just do this? And
yeah.
That's not.
Yeah, and they're like, can you just listen?
Yeah, sometimes it's really just like, I feel like 9 times out of 10, somebody knows the solution to the problem.
Yeah.
They just need to talk it out with somebody else before they make the actual decision to it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like, you just want somebody, like, I just want to tell you what happened, and I don't need a solution unless I'm asking, like, well, what do you think I should do? Or like, I'm trying to decide between these two things. But like, outside of that, I think people they want somebody to hear them and listen to them. Like I tell Adrian all the time, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
It's like she's bringing you to office tea. So now I just got to sip my coffee and be like, word, that's how it happened. Oh, that's crazy.
So, go ahead.
So let's shift to this. So what does being a man in a relationship mean to you, eh? Like being B-man.
I knew you were going to ask this question.
Yeah, I want to know. Being B-man, what does that mean to you?
Oh, man. You remember that book I gave you as a groomsman?
Yeah. I have it.
Yeah. So I find that...
What's the name of the book?
What? Oh, hold on. I can see it from the bookshelf. It's like the Way of the Superior Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it does a really good job of talking about masculinity and femininity, about like energies that present and so on. And I think being a man in a relationship to me really means, oh man, my ego. I wasn't expecting it. It part of it's protecting. There's definitely elements of like protect, provide, lead, support. What I found most, I would say the thing I think about most as being a man in this relationship and marriage is how to be of use to the village.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's what occupies most of my thoughts around manhood as it relates to this relationship is how do I support or grow or what's my role in this village or community we have.
Nice.
What about you, Paul? What does being a man mean to you?
Being a man, to me, number one, means to be able to cover my family. That's number one for me. So meaning that if anything happens, I'm the last line of defense. Meaning if anything happens, I have to fix it. Being a man is also knowing when to listen, knowing when to take the back seat, just understanding, being self-aware. I think being self-aware, being able to self-correct, being a good leader. There's tons of stuff that goes into being a man. There's a lot. Like, I think it's
I agree.
It is like the biggest responsibility to me. Being a great father is also being a man. Like making good decisions for your family and for yourself. Like putting yourself last, I think, is also being a man.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like behind your family, behind everybody else's choices, you put their happiness before yours. I think that's like being a man.
Okay, I like that.
Would you put yourself as a husband first or a father first?
Ooh.
A husband first.
Oh.
A husband first. That is easy.
You always say that you put yourself
That was
as a
easy?
husband
That was easy
first.
for me. I was a husband before a father, right? So to me, there are steps to it. I was a husband first. I chose Kristina. Before I chose to have Miles, I chose Kristina. I think naturally women, once they have kids, they can transition and they can say, I love my kid more than I love my husband, my spouse. That is not my thinking. I love my child and I love my wife on the same exact level. Like, I don't see him as being a different kind of love. I see it being, she's the being that brought my son, and I love them both equally.
You mean the goddess?
The goddess, the being, however you want to say it.
That's right, the goddess. That's right, Tina, correct.
Yeah, but I can't love my son and not love who brought my son into this world.
Yeah.
That's true.
What about you, ladies? What do y'all think
Being a woman is
the role of a man?
Oh, a man? The role of a man?
man.
Yeah, I'm thinking, what do y'all think is the role of a man in these modern times? That's it.
In these modern times. I mean,
go ahead, Jasmine. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm agreeing with what you said. You know, helping to secure the village and all of that. And I'm aligning exactly what Poe said, like helping to be the first line of defense. I do find it interesting, Poe, that you said you put your happiness last.
Yeah.
I feel like men should put their happiness first, because if you're not happy with yourself, how can you support the others around you, you know?
Yeah, when I say put my happiness last, I don't mean that I'm not happy. It just means that I'm worried about other people's happiness first, though, because to me, my role is to support them. My role is always a duty role. I think for me, I know I'm going to work for the rest of my life as a man. That's number one, right?
Nah, happy me, happy we, man.
No, I am happy at home. But if I had to pick for me to suffer, for my family to be good, I would. Because I think that's my responsibility as a man.
Yeah, I mean, I see that with, like, my dad, my grandfather, like, all the provider males I had in my life. Like, they put themselves last, but the women would put them first.
Exactly.
You know, so it wasn't like they're suffering. They're still happy because they're putting their wives and children first, but the wives are putting them first. Like, I'm making sure you have a warm bath. I'm making sure you have hot food. I'm making sure you're happy. So that's what I saw growing up. There were definitely roles in my household. But I think
mine too.
In today's modern marriages and in society, I think most women are looking at men as just mainly providers.
Yep.
Because when you speak to a lot of women out here, they're like, you got to pay for every single date. You're not taking me to a cheap restaurant. Even if we just started dating, I want 5-star restaurant every single time we go out. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to offer to pay not one meal. And you need to pay for my, what did someone
The bag?
You need to pay for my manicure and pedicure and my self-care before I'm even your girlfriend.
Insanity.
I don't know where I don't know. Where people like, it's like who is that one person that did these things for you? Like, why aren't you with them? That's all.
That's your dad. Your dad is the one doing. No,
but like even if it wasn't. But even if it wasn't their dad, like if it was a guy that they dated and they did that for them, I'm like, well, why aren't you with them? And they did all these great things for you, paid for everything, did all this. Like, why aren't you with them?
Because I don't. Oh man, are we gonna go down this road?
I don't want to go down that road. That's just one of the first questions I think. Like, I don't. Like, we were actually having this discussion about like paying for dates or whatever, and I feel like yes, the first date, okay, the guy pays because typically the guy is asking the woman out. Yeah. But I feel like after, at least by the third date, like the woman is typically like, oh, hey, do you want to do this? I feel like after that, it's whoever asks, whoever on the date should cover the date. That's just my thinking. I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but that's my thinking.
I think you got to throw it all out. I think if you want to be in a society that is continuously progressing forward, and men and women are going to make the same money, then it's unfair to continue to put the burden of courting financially on men in total. Either accept going Dutch until we decide to be together.
Like going Dutch on the first date?
On like the first date. A lot of these traditions are rooted in inequity. So the reason I spent so much to court you is
because men were making more money or men were working.
But you're now making what I make. You're in the work. You're in the field similarly. And even if there's inequality in pay and I'm making slightly upscale than you are, it's no longer like the vast amount that you should be like, oh, I pay. But even with that difference, most men mentally will accept the financial burden when dating.
Correct. Yeah.
I tell you all the time, it was expensive, man. At some point, I was just like,
you can't be a broke man dating.
You can't go out.
Being a bachelor is expensive.
Well, with these gas prices, nobody's gonna be dating.
Exactly.
True.
Oh, man.
No, that's so funny.
People know FaceTime dating.
I would believe you if I didn't see how people
became. No, I'm joking. I know people are still going to be doing it. But
COVID didn't stop people from smashing.
Oh no.
Gas prices.
Yeah.
Oh no.
For sure.
You realize at one point people didn't know if COVID could have turned you into a zombie, and they were still in the club.
Yeah.
With hookah looking to hook up.
Oh yeah. Till the end. Till the end.
But Adrian, I liked how you said we should go Dutch until we know that we want to like really invest in this, because I think that's what Poe and I we were just discussing this. We just went 50-50, like, all right, I'm getting mine, you're getting yours. We didn't go like to real restaurants when we just started getting to know each other. It was only after you asked me to be your girlfriend that we started like really.
Yeah, when I really started paying.
Go to like lunch dates first before.
Yeah, so you pay for yours.
I always thought that was weird. But
you can say whatever you want. You pay for yours, I pay for mine. I don't expect anything from you.
Yeah. And I don't expect anything from you.
That's it. That's how I think it should be.
I know the new thing now is like to not go on like full dinner dates, but just to meet up for like a drink, just to kind of feel each other out, and then decide like, all right, let's go on like another date after that. Which I think makes sense also.
Is that a turn off? Would that be a turn off to you, Jazz? If a man says that they want to go Dutch from the first date?
If I'm dating now at this age, probably not. No.
Okay.
In my 20s, yes.
It was a turn off for me, but then I was like, I wonder. Like, it was just also interesting. I always tell people I don't know why I kept like going back. So weird.
So that leads me to ask this question, ladies. Like, what do you think women in their 20s miss about men in relationships that you all don't get until a little later in your 30s? Because like you just said, now I would understand it more, but in my 20s, I was shooting guys down for this reason.
Well, I was also in college, so.
That what, Jazz?
I was poor. What'd you say?
Oh, no, I was asking what you said.
Oh, I said, well, I was also in college, so I was also poor.
Oh, yeah.
So.
But we were poor too, and y'all had these standards for us.
But no, I think...
We were poor too, and y'all didn't care that we were poor in college.
Unrealistic standards.
That's
you know
true,
that.
because I was like 21, like, I'm not dating anyone without a car. Sorry.
You see that?
Oh.
You see that?
Y'all didn't care that.
But I would also be like, okay, I'll pay to put gas in your car. Like, I don't.
Yeah, you always were that type of person anyway. You all right?
See, that's nice.
You know what I hated from our generation, Poe? When we were in the club, and I know that makes me sound kind of old, but whatever, I'll eat it. Was like this wave of needing to buy bottles.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Oh, I hated that
$300
wave for a minute.
Thank God I was never that person.
Y'all girls were eating it up. Tables, bottles. Go ahead. You better not lie.
I'll have you know, when I went to Vegas, we all did bottle service and table service, and we paid for it ourselves. No man paid for it. So
that's right.
Why did you do it for? What was that for, to buy bottles and do that inside the club?
Oh, because you wanted a seat in the club.
I was just going to say you wanted
good service. That's why.
Okay, so it's a pay to play. I got you.
It's all about the service.
Oh man.
You want to rest your feet.
So you guys, right? So what does being a woman mean to you guys in a relationship?
I think having like a supporting role also of your
spouse.
Man, of your spouse. Mm-hmm. So being your support system, being a good listener, which I just like recently learned after being with you for 10 years.
Damn.
So thank you, babe, for having patience. Being a good listener, communicator, being
a nurturer.
A nurturer for sure, and a good person to you. Like not taking advantage of what you do, not taking you for granted. Always letting you know how much you mean to the family. And like in our relationship, we have like very distinct roles. And we kind of play on those gender roles that everyone talks about. Because we both seen it in both our families. So I think that just came like naturally to us. Because I don't mind cooking and cleaning and doing all that stuff. Because it's what I'm used to seeing. So I say that's also my role in being a woman in the house.
What about you, Jazz?
I would say definitely being a support system for Adrian. I think being a safe space for him. I think over the past 2 years, a lot of men have just felt like their emotional needs weren't being met. So I try to be a safe space for Adrian because I know he deals with a lot just being a teacher and just, everyday life. Try to be that person where I think that with our relationship where we like to support each other where the other person may be weaker, one person may be stronger. So trying to be where he may be a little bit weaker in areas, I try to be stronger and support and be helpful as possible as I can. In terms of bringing up the gender roles, I would say it's a like weird mix for us because we like fall in line with some of the gender roles and some of them not. Like we both will cook. We both clean. We both do the laundry. I'll take out the trash and like the recycling. He'll do the same. Like we're both kind of we split things evenly. So that was like one important thing that I learned and loved about Adrian when we like first when we moved in together, like I learned that, okay, like he can actually clean and do his, like he's self-sufficient. Where it's like, I'm not having to like clean up behind him because that's not my role. I'm not his maid, but like we're both gonna, if we both make a mess, like we're both gonna clean it up.
By the way, my level of cleanliness is still not high enough.
Oh yeah.
He's not as clean as I am.
It will never be.
It will never be. That's why I don't even try.
And I showed you that picture. He will literally, like, the laundry bag will be right there on top of the laundry bag.
I don't even try.
What is it? Like, what is it with guys and clothes? Because Adrian, like, now I do majority of the laundry just because he's working and going back to school for a second master. So I'm doing, like, majority of the laundry. Mm-hmm. And all I ask is, like, you just put, like, I'll fold the clothes. Can you just put them away? He'll literally let the clothes sit in a chair for like a month. Oh yeah. And I'm like, wow. All you gotta do is literally physically, because he's very particular about how people on the now.
Yep.
Wow. He's very particular about
welcome to my world, A.
Like,
yeah.
So like, why can't you just put them away?
No, my clothes need to go away very particularly.
I know. That's why I don't.
So that's why she doesn't put them away for you.
No, because I have a certain way I need things folded.
Yeah, like he's very particular about it. I'm like, okay.
Beautiful arguments.
Yeah.
Beautiful arguments about clothes. I love those. I love those arguments.
I know, like the boring arguments. Like, you don't put it away properly. It's a beautiful thing.
But they're like heated. They're heated debates.
Oh yeah, heated. Very heated. Annoying.
Yeah. Do you guys have like continuous, like an ongoing marriage argument? Like, what is it? Is it the clothes? Is it the laundry?
What do we have that's continuous?
You used to be so annoying about like when I'm cooking, I have like a trash bag. You know those plastic bags you get when you shop, right? A trash bag.
Full.
And it will be full, and he will be so annoyed. Like, it's full. Why don't you throw this trash bag out already? Or if I throw the trash bag out, why didn't you get another trash bag and put it up right away? And it's like, you're not the one cooking and putting things in the trash bag. What do you have to put in the trash bag? Why are you upset?
Yeah.
Not seeing a trash bag.
Little bag when you're like peeling potatoes and stuff, and you use that bag to like throw the potatoes.
Yeah.
And he will see it either full
or not there.
Nothing there. And
or
that would piss him off. And I'm just like, why is it making you upset when you have nothing to do in this space?
I don't know, man. Whenever I go there, if I don't see it, that used to bug me. I don't know why, but yeah, that bugs me.
There's a reason why you haven't figured out.
No, I haven't figured it out. But I know that when I was back in my parents' crib, we always had the garbage. The garbage was there, and I knew where everything was at. To me, I'm very particular with a lot of things. And whenever we first moved in, that adjustment period was just like, I was complaining about every little thing that she did.
I'm over here thinking I'm like being the best wife. Like, I ironed your shirts for work. Oh. Like everything. I did like all of that old school woman stuff.
Oh, and I was still particular.
And
oh my God.
Just like, so I was just like, forget, you know what? I'm not doing any of it.
Mm-hmm. Tina, did he hit you with the teeth suck? Did he hit you with the kissing of his teeth?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know how Poe is when things not going Poe way? Poe be like, man.
So ask him if he gets his shirts ironed by me now.
No, I don't. I don't. But that's a beautiful thing. I mean, I learned, and I don't complain for most things anymore. Like as you transition into your relationship and you get there deeper and deeper, the less and less things you really complain about.
That's true. Like I just gave up on
I think we'll always be fighting. I think we'll always be fighting over Jazz moving my stuff.
Oh, me too.
It'll always be an argument. She can't help but move my stuff as if I didn't live a whole life alone at some point. No matter where I put something, wherever she thinks it should be is the right place for it to go.
Oh, don't you just hate that?
But okay.
You know what?
Stop.
Things have specific places that they need to go. Okay.
Exactly.
You realize I've once been chastised for the position of my books on the bookshelf.
Ooh.
Not facing the
Right, there it goes. Right there.
It's an aesthetic.
The books are on the bookshelf.
Okay, but they need to look nice and presentable. I like
get
an
it.
aesthetic, okay?
How does a man even win?
You know what?
How?
You don't.
I put the books where they're supposed to go, and even in that, they are not properly put.
Let's not go down this road.
It's
because Adrian has a disease. He has a disease of not closing drawers and cabinets.
wow. Out on the internet.
And I'm like, he'll literally go in the kitchen, open the cabinet, grab something, and leave. And I'll literally stare at him like, how do you not know to close the cabinet? The refrigerator will be open. Like,
oh, no. No way.
Like, how?
The roof. Come on.
It's a problem. Like, we need help. We need to find a solution.
Life.
That's a problem. And you know, Poe had the same problem. He used to always, like, be upset that I would move his things and put him in a proper way because he claims he has, like...
You heard the proper, right?
What is it that you say? Like, organized chaos?
Oh, yeah. Organized chaos.
So I just stopped touching his things, but till this day, if he cannot find something, it's always me. And I'm like, for the 20th time, I don't touch your stuff anymore. And then he always feels dumb when he finds it in the last place it's because there's chaos.
Jazz feels so vindicated by you saying that.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, Tina, did you put a hidden camera in our apartment? Because he literally will blame me. And I'm like, I literally watched him. He'll like move his wallet and put it on the bar cart. And I'll watch him do it. And then he'll be running around the apartment. Where's my wallet? I know you
touched it.
Like, I did not touch your wallet.
I'm like, I haven't touched your stuff. Oh my God.
You set the precedent when you started by moving my stuff.
Exactly.
Listen, I haven't touched your stuff in 5 years. No. Get over it.
I hear that.
No.
Overruled.
No. You set the precedent.
No.
So let's move on to in-laws. Like, do you believe in-laws play a significant role in a relationship? What do you guys think about that?
That's a good one. I don't know. No. I don't think. To be fair, I don't think your in-laws play a significant role unless they inject themselves, unless they wrongfully inject themselves in your relationship or until you have kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. And I guess that's fair because the question is in-laws, so it's marriage, right? It's not like parents in a relationship. Mm-hmm. So I think that changes if you have kids. I think that question, and you and I have had this conversation, like where that role the in-laws is, and I find that it's when you have kids, it's through a different lens.
Yeah, it is.
Right now, when we're single and married, I think we're very not single and married. But married without kids. Mm-hmm. Yeah, married without kids. I don't know. I don't know how I would define like the role of our in-laws other than like having a good relationship at best.
Yeah, I don't think they don't really interfere in our relationship.
No.
Yeah.
But do you guys do like let's say holidays by them? Do they instill like family values?
Yeah, I think we hang out with, and it's interesting to a conversation we've had, Poe. I feel like we hang out with Jazz's parents far more. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's to the point about like the daughter's parents and the prospect of the family and how that goes, because we don't hang out with my parents as much as we hang out with hers.
Yeah, it's like we go
same dynamic with
like
me.
For like holidays, we kind of established early on, like my mom and like my aunt and my brother, they've been coming to New York for Christmas since I've been in college. So like Thanksgiving is always kind of like we're in New York, and then Christmas, I always told Adrian like I have to be home in Baltimore for Christmas because that's like
a tradition.
That's important to me. It's special to me. So like we're always in Baltimore with my family for Christmas. Or I mean, even one Christmas we went away with my family for Christmas. So We kind of established that early on, but like we enjoy hanging with my parents. Like it's fun. It's funny hanging with your parents as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when you're married, like
As a
it's
couple.
very different than when you were like a child or like even in college. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you believe like your in-laws keep you guys together? Like, let's say you guys wanted to get a divorce or you guys were like really having issues. Do you think that your in-laws would be like a reason to stay together?
Oh, I wonder your answer, because do you think your mom and your dad would be like, oh no, you can't let Adrian go?
Yeah, I feel like my parents. I think they would be on both of us. Like, y'all need to figure this out. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
because like one of my mom's biggest things, like before we got married, she was like, she kept calling like breaking the family curse because like my parents are divorced, Adrian's parents aren't together, so she's like, you know, it's important for our marriage like that we stand the test of time. So they would definitely be like, no, y'all gotta work it out. Whatever, y'all gotta figure it out.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
I think my mom would just like ride with me, whatever, and then
No, she would be like, what you do, Adrian?
Yeah, my mom would say the same thing. What'd you do to that girl?
Right, yeah.
I think she would say that to me, but
She probably say to
in
me.
public. You think so?
Yeah, I feel like your mom would be like, what did he do? That's what she would say. Knowing your mother,
Did
she
you
would
get that
definitely
call?
say, yeah.
Oh, wow. My mom stabbed me in the back of the head.
Oh, listen, we went over the parentals, so they'll trade you for us.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. So
Yeah.
how important do you think it is?
Dynamic for you guys too? You find that like
they like Tina more than me.
Think that is?
They like Tina more. I don't know. They like Tina more than me, and I believe ever since
because we took away their problem.
Oh wow! And ever since you hear that right, like those shots, and ever since she became a mother, I believe it's elevated to a whole new level. But they always liked her before then.
Now you stuck
on your side.
Yeah, on my side, my parents like her more than like me.
So where do you feel like your relationships and hanging? Do you feel like you spend more time with Tina's parents?
Oh yeah, by far.
Or do you feel like y'all spend more time with Poe's parents?
No, Tina's parents by far. We spend every holiday there. So my family, we're not to get together and spend holidays together. We're barely the saying that I love you every day. My mom now does that, probably because she's getting older. But I didn't grow up with, oh, I love you or showing affection or whatever, or even like celebrating birthdays and things like that. So to me, her side of the family, they celebrate everything, every single thing.
How does that feel for you to now be a part of something?
Oh, beautiful. Like absolutely beautiful to just see a different life, to see how, to me, I didn't really think family would have been that important. You know what I mean? Growing up, I was like, if I don't get along with her family, that's whatever. But as you get older, as you have kids, I'm like, if we didn't get along with her family, we would have a really tough time. I think it will be tough.
Do you now feel, and I'm asking you this because this is how, like, to the question about the village, do you feel accountable to them now?
Oh, yes. For a fact, I think I would be embarrassed to break up with Kristina or any divorce or any type of major issue. I would feel embarrassed to bring that to their doorstep. You know what I mean? So I think they hold me accountable. I think my parents hold me accountable because anything that doesn't support our relationship, they would not approve.
Yeah, and in the beginning, one thing that I struggled with was how your family wasn't like my family. Mm-hmm. So I wanted, in dating, I was really thinking about, would I want to marry someone who doesn't have the same family structure I have? Because I want my kid to have both families, like very close. So, that was like really big for me. And still you're here. I really wanted this to happen.
Yeah, I don't know what y'all want. That's what I really see. People like to me, I don't think people know what they want. And especially I don't think women know what they want, because they will tell you they're looking for this kind of guy, whatever. But I would present myself the way I am, and you'll just take me as I am. So I'm like, I don't think y'all know what y'all want.
You that like we might see that be like, okay, maybe I'll take this and this. You know, it's a give and take. Mm-hmm. You were lucky that I saw something in you that outweighed the
You hear that, right, Adrian? I'm lucky she saw something
she said
in me.
You were lucky.
Uh-huh. I heard it. I heard it loud and clear.
What about you ladies? Do y'all, now that y'all are married in these relationships, do y'all feel accountable to the families?
Oh yeah, 100%. Definitely accountable to my side of the family, and I would definitely say your side. I think early on when we were dating, your family didn't really have a lot of get-togethers.
I think we sort of disbanded. There was in my growing up, like I told you, like Thanksgiving was huge for us,
right?
Christmas, but as the family moved away and people moved to different states, it just wasn't the same anymore.
And I think over the probably like past 5 years, I think that's changed, and now there's like lots of get-togethers and things, and like, you know, I'm close with some of like your cousins and whatnot, so I definitely think there'd be accountability on both sides for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, I would feel more accountable like with your cousins, and brother, like people we hang out with and vacation with, like all the time,
more than my parents,
more than your parents. Even though I know like your mom would be like, oh my god, devastated. But definitely I would feel like I would owe your cousins more of
my brother, my cousins, like our inner circle that we're Yeah, I agree. I can see why you would see it that way. So what advice would you give newly married couples, as well as single people on the market?
Oh, do we got enough time for that?
I don't know.
Would you recommend marriage to everybody?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I think everybody, what we've learned, like everyone has to define their relationship in their own way. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to legally, you know, get married or whatever. But if you decide that like this is your person, this is your partner for life, then I think that's also a beautiful thing. I don't know, it's hard for me to give advice.
No, get married. Get married.
Okay, get married.
Get married.
That's your opinion.
Yeah. Well, I've
seen it done. I mean, I've seen it done both.
I say get married. To go to the old African proverb, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yep.
And obviously not everybody needs to get married, but the reason I'm saying that, with sort of a blanket statement is all the other things that go with it, right? Like I'm thinking about all the instances where people are in long-term relationships and then someone passes and the state comes in and grabs everything because the other person didn't define anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, at least in those instances, the other person isn't left in limbo. Yeah. You know, or like the family comes in because you never put a ring on that person's finger and you guys are just like, oh, well, we're doing our thing. Yeah. Something happens to you, you step on the curb and get hit by a bus. And now what? Now the family comes in because they've got first rights to everything because...
Meanwhile, but the family wasn't there the whole time.
Yeah, the family wasn't there the whole time. So you really left this person, you hung them out to dry in a way.
I agree. So for protection.
Yeah, while I'm kind of jokingly saying like everyone should get married, I think, you know, just that, I guess what I'm really trying to get at is like define, like you said, define your union. Yeah. And if that's your person, secure them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
I agree.
For sure.
I agree with that. And yo, Adrian, you give some good advice.
Gems.
Goodness gracious. All right, so
man, listen, all the mistakes we made better.
Oh yeah. We've been through many transitions, even within our friendship. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, man.
Yeah, so we've been through a lot.
I feel like our dynamic has always been pretty unique, right? It's like one of those, what doesn't have to be said is kind of understood.
Exactly. And probably because we're like
markers.
Yeah, we're like kind of the same people. We're like loners, me and you. And it seems like we have like a similar upbringing when it comes to family structure as well too. So that's probably will.
Yeah.
That probably will do it.
Yeah, and demeanor. We've also never really had like any ruffling of the feathers.
One time.
I think like
one time.
Oh
one time.
Yeah.
Wait,
one time. One
I know the
time.
one time Poe has discussed that one time with me.
One
yeah,
time.
he had the one.
Remember the one time? Remember the
Is that the same time with Kristen?
No. Remember the poetry thing?
Okay.
The poetry
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
at Delphi.
yeah.
That was
I
the
know
one
exactly
time.
what he's talking
Same
about.
time with Kristen?
Yeah,
That's the one that
yeah.
he
Oh, yeah, that one.
I think, and you know what? I think it wasn't until that moment that Poe really trusted me.
Yes. That right there, getting over that, I think is what solidified our friendship.
But that's fair. I don't think any of us really knew what all of us were capable of.
Correct.
And we were all sort of in the proving grounds of friendship and manhood. Like we were all sort of, and I think everybody was kind of cool with what everybody could do.
Yep.
And, we all proved ourselves to each other in different ways. That's why I think the bond lasts.
Yep.
We trust that person can stand on their own. And we trust that if we reach out, that person doesn't throw things in our face.
Yep.
I think that's what makes it all unique.
Yeah.
So sweet.
So let's pivot back to this, right? So previous to getting married, do you think you were taught skills that helped you in your marriage now?
Hell no.
You had to learn everything on your own.
So you didn't learn nothing from your previous relationships. You didn't learn nothing from your dad, from your mom, from life, from nothing that.
Oh man.
I would.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I would say yes and no. I think just watching people, like people in my life that were married, have been in long-term marriages, just learning things from them, watching my grandparents and their interactions. I definitely think I learned some things. I didn't learn everything necessarily. It's like what people say, like when you become, like, you don't know what it's like having a kid until you have a child. So I think it's the same thing for marriage. Like, you don't really know how marriage is going to be until you're in a marriage.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
And you deal with like whatever you deal with. I mean, you know the person ahead. I hope you know the person ahead of getting married, but you learn more about them. And as Adrian always says, people change every 10 years, every decade or so. So it's like you're the person that you married, 10, 20 years ago, whatever, is not the same person you're with at that moment. So you have to learn to also evolve to how they change and how you've also changed in your experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's beautifully said.
And
I didn't learn it. No, I didn't. No, it's you just, I mean, I guess you could say, all right. I mean, I learned definitely from my mistakes, things I wanted to do better. I would absolutely say for me, and I tell Jazz all the time, she got a healed therapy version of Adrian.
Nice.
That's great.
Therapy helped me a whole lot to be more, there were areas of my life where I think I was stronger, but relationships was not one of them. Like, I'd be ready to blow up a relationship and move on in a minute. Or even when I was a bachelor and I got to a really selfish place, but therapy kind of helped me figure things out again and question my decision making, and was it was useful. You got a healed version of Adrian.
And I'm grateful for that.
That's nice.
What about you, love?
Definitely. I think just watching my parents' marriage and relationship, I was taught not specifically when you grow up and if you want a husband, these are things you have to do, but just watching my mom and dad interact and what they did for each other and with each other definitely taught me, number one, that the marriage you're in is forever.
Yep, me too.
To work things out. I saw them go through my parents known each other, have been together since my mom was 16 or something. So, they've evolved a lot. So,
yeah.
My dad was 18, my mom was 16. So they grew up together. We'd seen them basically through every stage of their marriage. But yeah.
So you saw the tough times. You saw the tough times. You saw them go through the tough times.
Yeah, but they were always like, I would say, respectful.
Okay.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And you know they got through everything. So and now I think they're so like they're just wise, old, married, fun-loving people now. And you know, raising kids when you're like broke and young and you have twins that you gotta care for, that's like super stressful.
Oh,
and
wow.
they went through all of that, and now my dad is like a mogul. You know, and my mom supported him through all of that, and he is who he is because of, number one, his work ethic, but my mom being by his side. And, you know, just seeing the evolution of individually them and together.
Nice.
I think taught me a lot.
Oh, wow.
So well, I'm waiting to be retired. Like,
yeah, I know, because that's the example that you got. I know that already. For me, I've always saw my mom and my dad being married. I saw what not to do. I saw what to do. I saw what to expect from a woman first and foremost. And I've also saw the strength of a woman. I've seen what women can tolerate. I've seen what women put up with. I would say my parents, although they've been together for a very long while, I don't think that I would model our relationship after them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they have a relationship that's good for them, but
them alone.
Yeah, but them. Yeah, but for them, but that would not rock over here. Because for me, like I always say, me seeing my mother taking a provider role, that makes me even more as a man want to take that provider role.
Yeah, but not only that, she took a submissive and
a provider role. Exactly. Which is kind of strange for modern days. For modern days. But I think back then women did it all the time. Women were the ones going to work, doing what they need to do, whatever, and still respected their man in the household.
No, I think I think women back then weren't providers at all.
Caribbean women, I always saw went to work.
My grandma did not go to work.
Yeah, you're right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you're right. Caribbean women, all the Caribbean women that I saw, they all went to work.
Yeah, I didn't see all the
women in my life, the West Indian women, all
the women in my life, both my grandmothers, they both had careers and they were married and their husbands had careers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I think
both on my father's side, both my grandmother and my grandfather were both educators. My grandfather taught shop, and my grandmother taught home ec.
Oh,
yeah. See, I didn't have the dynamics the three of you had growing up. I had a lot of like strong matriarchs growing up. Women ran my family for a long time.
Yeah.
So they don't run it anymore. We run it now.
Take back that power.
I hope they don't listen to this because they're going to be blown up your phone.
I was going to edit that out. No worries.
They're going to be like, I'm not even going to say your name that they call you.
She's about to embarrass you all the way.
No. Cole gonna edit that. Edit that. Run that out. No, but I didn't see those dynamics. So I find but everything's like a flip of the coin, right? Like you can see all of that and decide to do the opposite, or you can see all of that and decide to go with it. So I think the decisions with where we are, who we are in our relationship has probably more to do with the choices we made based on what we saw than the direct influence of it to a degree, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure.
So why do you think men and women are having a hard time finding their person nowadays?
Social media.
I think word. Could you imagine that? I don't think our generation or people who are married and couples in our generation,
millennials.
Yeah, give the negative impact of social media the respect it deserves, like Tina just did.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's a huge negative impact. Like what people scroll, post, what people are led to believe.
Yeah.
Like it makes me think of the bottle service wave. Like when we were in the club. Like
what do you mean wave? It's still a thing.
It's still a thing. I remember, and it was just, and I felt like, it's funny because the only person I felt like got it or understood that it was ridiculous was Poe as well. It was like, what sense does this make? And I probably have participated in it like once or twice, like in a really good celebration. But other than that, you couldn't convince me that this was particularly a good idea. But social media is kind of like that. People see it, and it's like bottle service in your thing. Like all these guys in the club, and you believe that they're popping bottles, but they leave and they get into Toyota Corolla,
exactly,
and drive off and go sleep in their mom's basements, right? And the girls too, right? The girls are in there like they're hot stuff, and then they go home and sleep in their bedroom or something at night, right? Like it's all kind of drudged up. Yeah.
But why do you think
I think that
men and women are having a hard time?
No, I think that's part of it. Like we can't, but it's always been the problem, right? Like it's timing. People don't make the right decision you kind of got to make the right decision with the person at the moment. If you're wise enough to do so at the moment, you recognize how dope they are and they recognize how cool you are.
That's very
like
true.
All those things have to come together at the same time.
I also
you have to be willing.
Waiting until you're like 30, like me and Poe met, or like in our early 20s. We got married. Like
20. I was 28. You were 24.
So I think that made it easier for us because we're young. Like this is new, fun, and like I think by 30, I would have way more expectations.
Yeah.
For someone, and I think it would be harder for me to settle down.
Oh wow,
that's interesting.
So you think the more you would have accumulated as you've gotten older, the harder it would have been to satiate you in a relationship? For
sure. Like I would be like, okay, if I'm 30, you're 35, you need to have this. You should have a house. You should have. What assets do you have? Do you have any student loans? I don't want them. Like my mind would have been. Like, I would have been way more strict with who I chose as a mate. Than what I was at, like, 24, So.
Yeah, so I think it's choices, too. I think before, people didn't always go and say, oh, you know what? I can do better. I can do better. I can always do better than that. I think people were really bonding, really getting to know each other. I think people used to date one at a time for the most part back then. And now it seems like you're in a dating blitz now. It seems like whenever you're dating in this modern day, you can have a date Monday, a date Tuesday, and then a date Wednesday. And it's kind of just like, how do you form real connection if all you're doing is trying to eliminate people who annoy you, people who have these red flags? I don't understand dating in this modern world. So I just think it's the ability to choose and the endless possibilities that make people not being able to just pair bond.
Yeah, it's like the whole world has a New York City at the palm of their hand.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like
I got it.
It used to be like, in order to have that many options, like you had to move to a big city.
Yeah,
exactly.
People would move but now, if you're the hot thing in like, I don't know, some town in like Kansas, you don't necessarily have to move to New York. You can like find a bunch of people outside now on Instagram. So your options open up just via the internet. But then there's, I think the element we're leaving out, right? Like it's also the unrealistic expectations. And I think Tina said that, right?
That's where I kind of had, that's where I kind of,
because
I feel like with the options, I get what you're saying, Poe. Like people are, it's just like they're going on so many dates and they're not formulating the connections, which I get because it's like not everybody you go on a date with. You're kind of like, all right, let me test this out. Okay, let's see how they are. And you kind of make a decision like, all right, you kind of both agree like, this is not it. And the people that you do connect, you're like, okay, let me go on a few more to see how they really are. So I think the options are good. It also opens it up where there's people that you probably would have never met before, and now you're meeting them, and they might be totally opposite of you, but then you could form this amazing connection with them, where that might not have been possible without like the dating apps or whatnot.
So let me ask you ladies this question. Imagine you're not married to the amazing, ostentatious men that you are. You're right. Imagine you're not married to us, right? Would you forego a man because he doesn't meet 20% of your list? He's giving you 80% of everything you want on your list, but he's not meeting 20% of what you have on your list.
I already know your answer.
Would you forego him?
I know your answer.
What is that 20%?
Exactly. Exactly.
That was my exact question. What is the 20%? No. You have to know what the 20% is.
If it's money, nah. We ain't doing that.
But like, what's the 20%?
Okay, so
you can't just be blind.
all right. So let's say the 80% is he's the affectionate family man, secure, all of that you want. He has a job. Right? He has a job. Let's say his job doesn't really have upward mobility, right? Let's say he's completely content to be what he is, and let's say what he is makes roughly $75,000 a year.
Okay. Gotta think about this.
Yeah, I know. Now you gotta think about it.
He has no real ambition. He's completely happy. He
has no real ambition.
Does he have a pension?
He might. Does he? You both asked. Does he have a pension?
Do you see that? They both look for the same thing, eh?
If I was ambition, it sounded like pension.
Oh, you said ambition.
I definitely thought you said pension. No, he has no.
Yeah,
what? That's a huge turn off. No ambition. Where we going? Can't make $75K for the rest of your life.
Again,
love don't pay the bills.
80% of it.
I would say in this scenario, it's a no for me.
Damn.
No ambition, no pension.
Ask us as guys the same question.
You would say yes.
Yes, of course
If
you
you
would.
had no ambition?
We'll take 80.
Yeah, we'll take 80.
You would take 80. What if the 20
we'll take 80 all the time.
No sex for a
that
year?
Can't be the 20.
You see? The
That
same
can't
way
be.
we say the money can't be the 20.
Yeah, I hear you, but no sex, like nah.
But
Definitely
I'll
not.
give you 80%. Like I'm inspirational.
How are you gonna inspire me but not give me any sex?
I can't be. Come on.
Y'all, we gonna say like he's broke.
Exactly. For her.
Broke to women is the same thing as sex for men.
Damn. You hear that, A?
Wait, okay, so what if the 20% is that she doesn't want to have kids?
Ooh,
yeah,
that's no good for me either.
One, Jasmine.
That's 20%?
That's not a 20%.
That is.
No. That's a like a relationship defining kind of 20%.
So it's money.
Listen, this is y'all question. I'm just
Nah, no kids. No kids.
That's not even how men think about 20%.
Yeah, exactly. Let them know,
That's
A.
not how men think about 20%.
So
Let them know, A.
What's your 20%?
What is 20%?
Wait, hold on. Tina, what'd you say?
You said the same thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Paul, what would be your 20%?
No, don't do that. They are hopping. They are hopping down your back. I want to hear what you're gonna say.
No, this is a conversation.
The way a guy would think about 20%. So 20% would be, 20% would be like she's not a great cook.
Yeah, there you go.
Really?
There you go.
That's the 20%.
Wow, that's
okay,
still, but she's still cooking.
Yeah, but she's not a great cook.
Not a great cook. Because see, in our minds are kind of like, our kids might be eating some chicken nuggets all night.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
We'll live with that.
Okay, so that's your 20%.
That's how we think about 20%.
That's the level. Okay.
Yeah, and I wouldn't agree to that 20%.
You wouldn't agree.
You would not agree to.
Now, what if the 20%
Come on.
is she has $250,000 in debt?
Whoa, that's not, see, why you gotta go such a high number?
But wait, does she have a home or is that like student loans?
It's student loans.
No,
And-
She got a master's degree. degree and she went to Ivy League school.
For what? Is she getting a doctor?
What does she do now?
No, she got a math.
She's a social worker.
No, social worker. You're out of here.
That's a bad deal.
You're out of here. Social worker. You're out of here.
That's
For $250,000 debt.
Yeah, that's a fair 20.
But that's a realistic scenario. Think about all the people that
if you brought the number down, that's a fair 20 to men. Like if you ask,
if it was under 100K,
under 100K is a fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
200,000 is like.
That's that would take either of us off the market.
Exactly.
Got it.
I'm just trying to figure out where your 20% is. That's all.
Right, Poe. Like if she was, let's say, she had $15,000 to $20,000 in debt.
Oh, that's light.
But it's all credit cards, no student loans.
That's light.
Now the guy's really paying it.
Yeah, that's light to me. 15, 20 is light. 50, 80-ish. Once you get to 100,000, nah, get out of here.
Not it. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're weighing your debt against how you look.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Are you worth it? Are you worth it? Yeah, you all right.
Oh my God. Okay, KS.
Nah, don't. That's my man, though. KS is my man, though.
He's cool. Listen, don't knock him. Don't knock him.
Yeah, he has.
Knocking him.
No, he has really, really good points, but it's just that he's an acquired taste,
For sure.
and I just don't think that women are ready to hear the truth or ready to hear it so bluntly as he puts it. But I think he has valuable
I agree.
information.
He's not disrespecting anybody.
No. He's just very blunt about it, and he's unapologetically a man. So I just think a lot of people just have a problem with it because I don't think people know what men really look like. And I don't think people are comfortable men being that masculine. You know what I mean? So that's his problem. But guys, this was fun. This was really, really, really fun.
Time went by so fast.
Yeah, I didn't even know we were on here for that long. But
I didn't either.
Thank you guys for coming on the show. Do you guys have like any last questions for us?
Well, thank you for having us. I enjoy this. Yeah, I miss you guys. Like the pandemic has really made it hard to see you guys. The only question I would have is, what does Tina consider 20%?
What do you consider 20%?
I like that loan thing. I guess the student loans is a big 20% for sure.
What about the family thing? The family thing that could be a 20%.
So I would take like 80% if it was just.
I don't have
20% of the family thing we discussed, loans, but definitely not when it comes to like finances. You ain't leaving me out here and like to figure it out. Nobody.
But on that note, thank you guys, and we are out.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.